Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nightmare Collective. I'm Chris. Today we're going to be doing another tier list video. This is going to be Child's Play / Chucky. So every week I'm going to try and get one of these out based on a franchise that I do like. I want to get these out because I haven't reviewed a lot of these movies. Now I will review most of these probably eventually in the future. I've got a long time on YouTube to do all this, but I do want to get my thoughts on these movies out as I feel like I'm kind of behind, and if they release any new ones in the future, you'll kind of know what I think, and then I can talk about it freely and not have to be like, well, this is what I think about A, B, C, you know. You already know. I can just link you to my video and you can watch this video. Also, keep in mind, I will not be ranking the TV show in this ranking here, but I will talk about it at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that if you want to know my thoughts on the television show. Alright, let's go in reverse order like we always do. So that means we're going to start with the remake. The remake for me is a D. I'm not a huge fan of it. Mark Hamill is okay as the voice, but I don't like the doll. I don't like the artificial intelligence angle. I do realize it's modern and it makes sense for the era that we're in. The only thing I really like about this is Andy's decent in it, and I do like Aubrey Plaza. She's awesome and weird, and she's one of my favorite actresses. I like a lot of the stuff that she does, but that's, for me, pretty much the only thing that works in that movie. I don't really want to see another one. If they do make it, I don't know. That's kind of where I sit with that remake. Again, I'm not a huge fan of prequels, remakes. There's a few remakes I do like more than the original, and one of these tier lists you'll see what that one is, but let's get into the next one. So this is going to be Cult of Chucky. Cult of Chucky for me is right along those lines. I don't think it's a bad movie. I mean, it's kind of direct-to-video style, and you can kind of tell that. I'm not a huge fan of like the cult itself and how like there's 30 different Chuckies. I just really am not a huge fan of it. The one redeeming factor in this movie is the glass kill. I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen this, but that glass falling down, oh, it's awesome. That's an awesome kill. So it does have some cool kills in it, but overall, not a huge fan of the movie. All right, so let's get into Curse of Chucky. Curse of Chucky for me is a C. The doll is okay in this, you know, because we kind of redesigned, but this is in that middle between like what we got before and then like the new modern style doll that we got in like Cult of Chucky. It's kind of in the middle there. He looks very similar, but there's like subtle differences between them. This for me, I liked it. We kind of got back, made a smaller movie. It was set in kind of one house, and I do like this aspect of the girl like being in the wheelchair so she couldn't just wander around. Chucky was kind of always with her. I do like this movie a lot. I do recommend this movie. I think it is better than these two, obviously, in my ranking. But I do like this movie overall. I like watching it sometimes. It's just a small, simple movie. But it gets us back on track for what would come. Alright, so before that, we have Seed of Chucky. This movie is fucking garbage. I hate Seed of Chucky. I don't think it's funny. I think the Glenn and Glenda stuff is terrible. I don't look forward to that in the show. Hopefully they can take what they did there and kind of make it better. I have no issue with Glenn and Glenda. Let's get that out up front. I'm fine with the idea. And, you know, knowing about Dan Mancini, it all makes sense. So I see what he was going for. The movie for me is just kind of stupid. It kind of crosses that line from being like funny mixed with horror, like I believe another one of these movies gets right that we'll come across in a second. But it just, I mean, the Britney Spears crap. I mean, Redman 5 was in this movie. There's just a lot of dumb shit that I just don't like in this movie. It's my least favorite, and I never rewatch it. I never rewatch this movie. So let's get into Bride of Chucky. Man, I love Bride of Chucky a lot. For me, Bride of Chucky is an A. I think this is the perfect mix between horror and comedy, just like another movie that we'll get into in a second. But I like this. I like the addition of Tiffany. I think that stuff gets worse in Seed of Chucky also, but I love Bride of Chucky. I like the look of Chucky in this. This is probably my favorite like modern look of Chucky. I like the scarred up look of his face, and I like the doll. I like everything about it. I think it's super funny, and it gets that mix right. Okay, so let's get into Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3 for me is a B. I think this movie is kind of underrated. I don't think it's as good as the first two by any means, but I do like the military school aspect of it. I like kind of a more teenage Andy. That's great. He's got kind of a partner in this movie, and she's great. And I overall like Chucky kind of just like meandering around, replacing the paint bullets with real bullets, some fucked up shit. It does kind of feel lesser than the first two. You can kind of see that something is different about it. The directing overall is fine, but you can feel that it's not as big and grand as the second one is. But I do like it, and I rewatched it recently when I got the Scream Factory 4Ks of these movies. It looks great, sounds great, so I did enjoy watching it. It is one that I do enjoy watching it. These top 4 I will watch all day long. These are ones that I could watch every year and be fine with it. 2 of these I do watch every year. I do watch Bride pretty much every year, and I do watch Child's Play 2 pretty much every year. But let's get into Child's Play 2. This for me is an S. I fucking love Child's Play 2. It is my favorite movie, especially revisiting it a few weeks ago. Man, the transfer was awesome for the 4K. It sounds great. I love all the music for this movie. I love Chucky in this movie. It's the perfect balance, just like Bride of Chucky is, in a different way though. I mean, it is very different to Bride of Chucky, but I do like the balance of the character in this movie. Man, I love this movie. I love the toy factory at the end. I mean, even my wife at some point came in and she was like, what is going on? And Chucky was like half melted crawling on the... So, I mean, it was funny. She doesn't even like horror, and she was kind of like slightly interested in what was going on. She kind of watched the ending with me. But I love this movie. Nothing in this series tops this for me, and even rewatching just solidified that fact that Child's Play 2 is fucking great. So, let's get into the original. So, the original for me is probably an A. I don't hate this movie by any means. I just don't think it ever reaches what they did in Child's Play 2. This was solely a Dan Mancini written movie, and I think that was good because the first one kind of had a mix of what was going on at the time, but I think he best gets this character right half of the time. Every other movie, and I know like some other creators and like people that like horror have said that, but I mean, you can kind of see every other movie. Like Child's Play's pretty good, but he wrote that with somebody else, so we won't count that one. But Child's Play 2, great. Child's Play 3, step down from that. Then we get into Bride of Chucky, amazing. Then we get into Seed of Chucky, not great. Then we get into Curse of Chucky, pretty good. And then we get into Cult of Chucky, not great. And now we're on the show. So he's got a 50-50 shot that I'm going to like what he makes. And it's a weird back and forth. I don't know why it's like that, but that's how this franchise has been. So Child's Play for me is right there. It's not a bad movie. I just love Child's Play 2 so much more, and I don't believe the original is up there. I like the contained nature of it being in the apartment, and you know, it makes sense. It's a great 80s movie, and I think it's different than a lot of that stuff. I like the angle of the serial killer being like put into the doll by some voodoo. It's all great for me. I think all of that works, but it's just not an S tier for me. And that's kind of it. That's my ranking for these movies. So let me know kind of what your ranking is below. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite? Also, now I've made you wait. Let's get into the TV show. So season 1 of the TV show I feel like was hit and miss, as is Dan Mancini. But I do like most of it. And I thought it was a good kind of return to form after Cult of Chucky. I do like this more than I liked Cult of Chucky. So I'm optimistic about the show. My feelings going forward are less optimistic. I don't know what they're going to do because we're bringing kind of this cast of characters forward and we have Tiffany now. I just don't know what they're going to do. So I'm hopeful but less optimistic than I was going into the show. I was very optimistic about what they could do. I thought that having a show would be interesting and something they hadn't done with the series. But I'm not sure how it's going to go. So look forward to that review whenever that season comes out. I will probably just do an overall review of that season. I probably won't do like week to week, episode by episode reviews. I just don't think that's useful. I would rather just give my thoughts once the whole thing is out, because I usually feel like those go, well, I like this, but, and it gets answered in the next episode. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but look for that. I definitely want to review that since I didn't do the show. Also, at some point, I will be reviewing all of these movies. Don't know when it is. Could be a year from now. Could be 2 years from now. I really just don't know. It depends on once I get through everything I want to get through. But as always, thanks for watching, guys. If you like what I do, consider becoming Carter Collective down below. Also, check out my other tier lists I've done and some horror reviews that I've done recently. You can click on the cards at the end of this video. And as always, don't forget, some doors should never be opened.